ARRLNTS Net Nightly at 6:30 p.m. W5FC.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Does anyone need to use the repeater before we begin the 9 p.m. Skynet? This is KF5PDS. My name is Billy, and I'll be your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic, and we encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations with priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign, break, and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? The directed net. Please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me. And stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on 146.880 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using the W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available online. Go to www.w5fc.org right now for the complete list. And remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome. You need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long and is structured in several parts. General announcements, Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope, National Space Society events, discussion topic of the evening, Was Up, space exploration and space history, constellation of the week, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and our 73 round. All amateurs licensed to transmit on this frequency are invited to check in. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to my alternate net control, Tom, KE5ICX, if you'll do the check-in honors, please.
Thank you, Miss Billy, and thank you for doing the net control responsibilities this evening. This is KE5ICX. I am alternate net control this evening. I will take willpower short time check-ins. If you're one of those, please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. Let me know if you're low power or short time. Please come now. know the bands were hopping earlier, so we may not get as many as we normally do, but let's find out. Let's go to general check-ins, if you're one of those. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. General check-ins now.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo, Bill and Irving.
This is Kilo 5, Kilo, Tango X-Ray, Kelly in Quinlan.
This is Kilo Echo 5, Echo November, Eric in Plano.
I've got 3 on that one. I got N5BB, Mr. Bill and Irving. I got K5KTX, Miss Kelly in Quinlan, and KEN, Eric in Plano. Additional check-ins, please come out.
This is Whiskey, Bravo, number 4, Mike, Foxtrot, India, WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda and DeSoto.
Kilo Echo 5, Romeo Lima Romeo, Mike, South Plano.
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas, low power.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill Farmers Branch.
Okie dokie, we picked up a few more. I got WB4MFI, that's Ted in Dallas, low power. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda, DeSoto. KE5RLR, Mike in South Plano. W5QS, Gus in far northeast Dallas, also low power. K5ZBL, Mr. Bill, the President in Farmers Branch. Do I have additional check-ins? Please come now.
Kilo India 5, Kilo Romeo Papa. That's KI5 KRP. Name is Chris, and I'm in Kaufman.
Kilo Echo 5, Uniform Charlie Tango, Arlington, Ed.
Okay, we picked up 2 more. I got KI5KRP. Chris over in Kaufman. We got you checked in. KE5UCT. That's Ed in Arlington. I'll do 1 more round on RF, and then we'll move to Echolink. Additional check-ins, please come now.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James and Carrollton.
We got James, KG5W, Victor Lima, over in Carrollton. Welcome, James. I will now ask for Echolink check-ins. I know there's a couple over there who have not checked in. If you'd like to do so, now's your opportunity. Echolink only. Please come with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from. Otherwise, just tell me you're there over the chat. Echolink only. Please come now. John, K5JDW over in Norman, Oklahoma. John, your audio's way down. You're usually pretty good on Echolink, but you might want to check your output for audio. But I did get you, and I got you checked in. N5IMS, that's JJ in Carrollton. He says he's listen only. No, we're going to find a microphone. Well, we've heard you. We've had you on the net before. So, very good. Okay, I'll open it up to anybody else who'd like to check in before we get started. This is Skynet. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name and where you're transmitting from. Well, I'm going to send it back to net control. I've got word that things are going really well over on HF for field day, so we may have less than our usual check-ins, but we'll find out in a little bit. So back to you, Miss Billy, from KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom, and welcome to all who have checked in on Skynet. All right, let's get started with general announcements. Do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be ham, astronomical, space, or of general interest to licensed hams. If you have an announcement, please come now with your call sign.
KF5ZBL.
Hi, Bill. Is it K5ZBL? What announcements? Good evening. What announcements do you have for us?
Well, good evening to the net. KF5ZBL Bill here. Well, I just want to let everybody know we're sitting out here on Discord and whatnot, and playing field day and whatnot, listening to the nets and what. And just remember that come on out to Discord, come hang out with us. There's going to be an awesome prize coming up during this net. So come on out, join Discords, go to our websites, and click on the Discord thing right on the right. Anyway, come on out. You won't be disappointed. KF5ZBL.
Hey, thanks for that announcement. Glad some folks are out having field day. I missed this and at the awesome location that we've had past. We'll be back one day. So glad we're all here. And it is field day, so happy field day. All right, does anybody else have any announcements? If so, please come now with your call sign. Not hearing any other announcements, so I'll go ahead with a few announcements of my own. The AMSAT Radio Amateur Satellite Group has 2 nets available to Dallas residents on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. Central Time. You'll need Echolink installed and you registered. You can find the net under Groups and AMSAT. Also, a live audio link is available on their website at www.amsatnet.com. This net originates in Houston, Texas. The Dallas AMSAT Net East, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas, is every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on this repeater, 146.880 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9. Tom N5HYP is the net control. All are welcome to check in. First Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club Night, so there's no AMSAT East on that Tuesday night. Dallas AMSAT Net West is every Wednesday at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater, which is 147.140 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9 and a positive offset. The DARC hosts several Monday night nets. First Monday of the month is Ham Fixins Net. If you would like to share recipes or come to just jot down some great recipes, question or anecdote about food, join us for Ham Fixins Net. Second Monday of the month is MCOM 101, Emergency Communications. Come back on the third Monday for a second helping of Ham Fixins Net. And on the fourth Monday is Geek Net. And if there's a fifth Monday of the month, it's a surprise net if we told you what it is. Wouldn't be a surprise. On-air participation is encouraged. On Tuesdays, AMSAT East is at 8 p.m. There's question and answer, info, and news for amateur satellites. And Fridays, join CERT City Simulation at 7:30 p.m. Learn about emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa, KI5GRH, is usually net control. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday. CERT City, all are welcome. Saturdays is the Night of Nets with TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. and, of course, Skynet at 9 p.m. And at 10:30, we have the Afterglow Movie Net, which we will talk about in a moment. First and third Sundays is Amateur Radio Club's Meeting on the Air. Daily, there's the Lunch Bunch at 12 noon, Monday through Friday. There's always a survey question. Eat lunch with us. And the ARRL Net, National Traffic System Training Net, is every night at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. All are welcome to check in on any or all of these nets. And as I mentioned, at 10:30 p.m. on Saturday nights after Skynet is the Afterglow Movie Net. What we do is we discuss a movie, and then at the end of the net, we pick a movie to watch for the week, and then we discuss it the following Saturday during the Afterglow Movie Net. So at this time, I will turn the net over to Tom, KE5ICX, if you'll give us tonight's Afterglow info from KFI PDS.
All right. Thank you, Miss Billy. Now, everybody put on your thinking caps, go back, or your time machine, go back to about 1964. Think about the Addams Family theme song by Vic Mizzy, because I can't sing it, nor could I sing it even if I could sing it legally. But it goes something like this. They've been in syndication, a TV sensation, a winning combination, the Addams Family reunion. The 90s were a godsend, reimaged as our new friends. They were like movie bookends, the Addams Family reunion. But then in 98, a low-cost test of fate, a TV series remake, the Addams Family reunion. Da-da-da-dum. Dire. Da-da-da-dum. Uninspired. Da-da-da-dum. 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 On fire. So join us Field Day weekend, a relic of poor distinction. It's more like mass extinction, the Addams Family reunion. There you have it. Join us for the Field Day weekend to discuss an Addams Family movie you didn't even know existed from did they say 89? I think that's right. Whatever it was, it doesn't matter. And by the way, we'll even discuss a TV series I didn't even know existed with 67 episodes after the original, which was way better in 1964. It wasn't all that bad, but you might like it, you might not. But let's talk about all things the Addams Family. Back to net control. This is KE5ICX.
Thank you, Tom. And with Tim Curry as Gomez, how bad could it be? You decide at 10:30 p.m. And you can keep up with all DARC events, nets, and activities by going to the club website, w5fc.org. Okay, at this time, we're going to move on and talk about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events. Anybody on frequency that would like to give information about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, please come now with your call sign.
K5 KTX.
KTX. Kelly, good evening. What information can you give us about the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas?
Well, good evening, everyone. This is K5 KTX, and we'll actually have some we're getting a little bit closer to being able to start meeting in person again, and so I have a little bit of news related to that. But I did want to mention that the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas is your local source for all things astronomy, and for the last year and almost a half, I guess, we've been meeting virtually on Zoom. We meet on the fourth Friday of every month at 7:30 p.m. Via Zoom if you're a member of the club. And except for November, we usually meet on the third Friday because of Thanksgiving. So that means last night was our June monthly meeting, and it was a great meeting. We had a very energetic speaker, Dr. Emily Levesque, who is a professor of astronomy at the University of Washington, and her talk was about her book that she came out with last year called The Last Stargazers, and it's a book about the real life of professional astronomers, and she had some amazing stories, including the true story behind the 5 bullet holes that are in the primary mirror of the 107-inch telescope at McDonald Observatory out in Fort Davis. So very interesting. I can't wait to get a hold of the book. It sounds really, really fascinating. But she was very high energy, and she's been all over the world, including she's also been on the SOFIA, NASA's airborne telescope, and she's been in South America and Antarctica and all over the place. And she's very young, or she at least looks very young. So she's had a very interesting life, and anyway, it was a great meeting. So, as long as we've been doing these Zoom meetings, we've had some fantastic speakers. Now, normally during a non-pandemic time, we would be having monthly star parties at different locations around Dallas. And of course, we have to put those on hold for the last year due to COVID. And we have some great news. We are working very hard at possibly getting those started up again. We did have the Cedar Hill Star Party did happen. It was kind of not advertised. They just wanted to have a star party and just to see how it went, and how well it works as far as doing the social distancing and that sort of thing. So it was a small turnout, which is what they wanted, but it went really well. And so the board of the Texas Astronomical Society is continuing to work on getting those star parties getting going again. And as soon as we have the schedule, I will certainly myself or Chaz will announce it here on Skynet. The other good news is that one of our board members has been talking with our sponsor at the University of Texas at Dallas, and within the next few weeks, we will be able to get on the schedule for having meetings again at the University of Texas at Dallas, probably as soon as September. They do have a new building there on campus that we might be able to get a meeting room in. So we're going to try to jump on that and get a good meeting room. Even if we do get a meeting room starting in September, we will probably continue the meetings via Zoom. So we'll also announce that, and hopefully we'll continue to have some really great speakers like we've been having for the last year. So you can get all the information at texasastro.org, and you can go to the calendar and see what events that we have coming up and see who our speaker is. And I think that about covers it. This is K5KTX. Back to you, Billy.
Thank you so much, Kelly. That is wonderful news. All right. Next up is National Space Society events and activities. So at this time, I will turn that over to Bill, N5BB, if you'll give us information about the National Space Society from KFI TDS.
Thanks, Billy. This is N5BB. I'm the membership director of the North Texas chapter of the National Space Society. If you have any questions about the National Space Society, you can send me an email at N5BB, that's November 5, Bravo, Bravo, at ARRL.net. National Space Society meets on the second Sunday afternoon of each month. And we're going to move back to an in-person meeting starting on our July meeting. So our first in-person meeting in a year and a half is going to be on Sunday, July the 11th at 3:30 p.m. The actual presentation starts at 4, but we start getting together at 3:30 at Spring Creek Barbecue, which is on the southwest corner of the Beltline Highway 183 intersection in Irving, across the highway from Irving Mall. I do not know what the program is going to be for the July 11th meeting. Currently, the National Space Society has been holding the International Space Development Conference 2021. It has been a virtual event. The free sessions were Thursday, Friday, and today. I announced them last week on Skynet. There is a session tomorrow, Sunday, but it costs money. You have to register in advance and pay money. And let me see. I think that's everything I have right now. We don't have any events other than our meetings scheduled yet, because various venues and museums and everything are just getting back started with in-person meetings. But we do plan to be at Moon Day, which will be 4 weeks from now on July the 24th at the Frontiers of Flight Museum, Love Field. That will be partially in-person, partially online Moon Day. That's all I got in 5BB.
Thanks very much, Bill, and I'm looking forward to Moon Day as well. And just a little bit of advertising. The National Space Society of North Texas has an active Facebook page. Just type National Space Society of North Texas into the search box and request access, and you'll receive meeting reminders and club activities. All right, this is KF5TDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is discussion topic of the evening. So for my topic, I've chosen Comet Leonard. This information is from an article written by Joe Rao on March 2nd, 2021 on space.com. It's entitled Newfound Comet Leonard Will Blaze into View This Year. So the comet was discovered in January and may be bright enough to see without a telescope. A new comet is on its way in toward the sun, with prospects that it might become bright enough to see with the unaided eye by year's end. Object in question is Comet Leonard, cataloged C/2021A1, and was discovered by astronomer Gregory J. Leonard on January 3rd at the Mount Lemmon Observatory, also known as the Mount Lemmon Infrared Observatory. This observatory is located on Mount Lemmon in the Santa Catalina Mountains, approximately 17 miles northeast of Tucson, Arizona. Mr. Leonard is a senior research specialist for the observatory's Lunar and Planetary Laboratories Catalina Sky Survey. When Mr. Leonard found the comet's image, it was an exceedingly faint object of magnitude 19. That is nearly 160,000 times dimmer than the faintest stars visible to the unaided eye. Not surprisingly, when it was first sighted, the comet was some 5 astronomical units from the sun. Recall that 1 astronomical unit, or AU, is equal to the Earth's average distance from the sun, of 92.855 million miles. So at a distance of 5 AU, Comet Leonard was out near the orbit of Jupiter, far from the sun, but just beginning to feel the effects of its warming rays haze and slowly beginning the process for it to blossom into a conspicuous celestial object. Okay, we know comets. Oh, hang on just a second. We know comets to be made primarily of frozen gases that are heated as they approach the sun and made to glow by the sun's light. As gases warm and expand, the solar wind, subatomic particles radiating out from the sun, blow the expanding material out into the comet's beautiful tail. Observers of antiquity, the tails resembled a head of flowing hair, so they called comets hairy stars. Professional astronomers can observe anywhere from half a dozen to a dozen comets on any given night, but comets bright and excite those of us without big telescopes are rather unusual, perhaps appearing on average of 1 or 2 years every 10 to 15 years. Of course, memories are still fresh from the striking appearance last summer of Comet Neowise, and some are no doubt hoping that we might have a December redo with Comet Leonard. Comet Leonard was first sighted. It was about at that distance from the sun that methanol and water start sublimation, in other words, going directly from a frozen state into a gas. And in some images, there was even evidence of a faint tail. First calculations demonstrated that it is traveling in an exceedingly long, flattened, elliptical orbit, taking it out as 3,500 AUs from the sun, or 325 billion miles. Out there, temperatures are just a fraction of a degree above absolute zero, minus 459.67 degrees Fahrenheit, so cold that particles stop moving. In essence, after being in a frozen state for tens of thousands of years, Comet Leonard was beginning to awaken from its long slumber. There are a couple of reasons for being optimistic about Comet Leonard brightening up to naked eye brightness. First is the comet's orbit itself. Its orbit demonstrates that it is not a new comet coming directly from the Oort cloud, an icy shell around the solar system where comets appear to originate before swooping around the sun and experience the effects of sunlight for the first time. Rather, Comet Leonard is traveling in a closed orbit and probably visited the vicinity of the sun at least once before, about 70,000 years ago. That in itself is good news. A new comet in a parabolic orbit, that is, a comet that has never passed near the sun before, may have its surface covered with very volatile material such as frozen carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and carbon monoxide. These ices tend to vaporize far from the sun, giving a distant comet a surge of brightness that can raise unrealistic expectations. Then as they draw closer to the sun, their rapid brightening suddenly slows and they end up falling far short. End up falling far short of brightness expectations. Comet Leonard does not fall into that category. The other reasons for expecting bright show from this comet are its close approaches to both the Earth and the Sun. On December 12th, it will pass within 21.7 million miles of Earth, and on January 3rd, 2022, exactly 1 year after its discovery, it will pass within 57.2 miles of the Sun. When using standard power law formulas, taking into account how bright the comet is now, versus how much closer it will be by the year's end to both the Earth and the Sun, the current expectation is that the comet could reach as bright as 4th magnitude, making it bright enough to see without optical aid in a dark sky. In the first 2 weeks of December, Comet Leonard will be accessible to early risers, visible a couple of hours before sunrise, low in the east-northeast sky. It will track through the constellations Coma Berenices, Bootes, and Serpens Caput. It should be an easy object to see with a small telescope or pair of binoculars, and with any luck, with the unaided eye. During the latter half of December, as the comet gets closer to the Sun, it will gradually get absorbed into the light of dawn and finally disappear from view. Will Comet Leonard evolve into another Neowise? Unfortunately, from many years of observing comets, the authors have to say no. Most comets are at their best after reaching their closest point to the Sun, or and heading back out into deep space. That is when comets release their maximum amount of dust and gas, and where they are intrinsically at their brightest and their tails at their longest. Comet Leonard will be hidden by the brilliant solar glare during this time, rapidly receding from both the Sun and Earth after January 3rd of next year and quickly fading away. The best, the author thinks, that we can hope for is a modestly bright naked-eye comet available to anyone who cares to get up before sunrise during early and mid-December mornings. The author says they have seen other websites stating that Comet Leonard will be a once-in-a-lifetime sight. That is true, for once it rounds the Sun, it will be thrown out of the solar system, never to be seen again, according to earthsky.org. Another claims that it could be the most brilliant and dramatic comet of this year. If you compare it to the other faint fuzzies due to appear this year, that is also true, although to use words like brilliant and dramatic are hyperboles. Since all new comets are notoriously unpredictable, we can only guess just how bright Comet Leonard will get and its tail will get. We're just going to have to wait and see. Space.com will keep you posted on its development in the coming months, so stay tuned. And just some information about the author, Joe Rao. He serves as an instructor and guest lecturer at New York's Hayden Planetarium. He writes about astronomy for National History Magazine, The Farmer's Almanac, and other publications. All right, so there's information about Comet Leonard. It'll be interesting to watch and see that develop. So this is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. Having a little trouble with my phone here. Next up is What's Up. I understand Chaz is on assignment. Tom, KE5ICX, I believe you have duties of reporting What's Up tonight. So if you would do a quick round of check-ins to see if we have any additional check-ins for this evening's net, and then proceed on to give the report on What's Up. KE5ICX from KF5CS.
Thank you, Miss Billy, and this is KE5ICX. I'll take additional check-ins for tonight's Skynet. If you'd like to join us this evening, please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, where you're transmitting from. Please come now.
Kilo 1, Delta Bravo Delta, Sky, and I'm currently transmitting from about 65 miles an hour on eastbound 635.
Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington. Kilo Charlie 5, Whiskey, Foxtrot, Hotel, transmitting from Kingston, Washington.
Kilo India 5, Quebec Delta Alpha, Dan, and I'm in Rowlett.
Okay, we picked up, I believe, 4. Guy, I think it's K5GBD, and you're mobile. Did I get that right?
K1 GBD, actually, but close enough.
All right, thank you, Guy. Your prefix got cut off, and I took a wild guess, but I should have known that. K1GBD. I got you checked in. Mobile. KG5ZMG. That's Joe in Arlington, I believe. And I got an Echolink check-in. This is Kilo Charlie 5 Whiskey Foxtrot Hotel in Kingston. Tell me where in Kingston, and could I get your name, please? And thanks for checking in over on Echolink.
That's Kingston, Washington, about 10 miles northwest of Seattle. First name here is Bill, Bravo, India, Lima, Lima.
Excellent. Thank you, Bill. KC5WFH over in Kingston, Washington. I suspect you may have come from the area here or are from Five Land, of course. Welcome aboard, and boy, I want to get up to your area. I want to get to the Boeing Museum one of these years. It's one of my holy grail sites, so just thought I'd play fanboy on that, but thank you for checking in. We're here every Saturday night. Next station I got is KI5 Quebec Delta Alpha, Dan in Rowlett. I think I got that right. Any additional check-ins, please come now.
Kilo, Foxtrot 5, Tango, Sierra Kilo, rural in Dallas.
Okay, I picked up one more. I got KF5TSK Burl in Dallas. By the way, Burl, there's a particularly awful movie that you'll enjoy tonight. Maybe you'll come on by. Addams Family Reunion. Nobody's ever heard of it before, including the people that starred in it. So just thought I'd mention that. Okay, let's continue on. I got a phone call from Chaz. And when I get a phone call from Chaz, it usually means he's on some adventure somewhere, and I get to do what's up. But he did put something together. He is in an airplane right now, as we speak, flying over Dallas. He has his handy-talkie with him. It's entirely possible that KF5PDS, or not KF5PDS, what is this call? Now I can't remember. It threw me off. I'm thinking net control and not Chaz, who is net out of control usually. Oh well, any rate, maybe he'll check in. Chaz, are you out there? Are you listening? Can you hear us? I'm going to give him a chance to check in from air. Chaz, I'll figure your call in just a minute. JHA, KF5JHA, I just remembered. Are you out there? Are you airborne? KF5JHA from KE5ICX. All right, I thought maybe he might be there, but he could be flying the plane. So that 10 and 2 position that you have to be at when you make a U-turn, very important that you have both hands on the wheel. So, or on the yoke in this case. That's no yoke, by the way. Okay, here we go. And if it's no yoke, you're going to crash. Okay, I have up on the display here under program, it's got Chaz's slideshow for tonight. And so I guess they call that the deck now, the loaded deck. This is Tom, KE5ICX, Chaz, KF5JJ, that usually does the segments, has an excuse, like the opportunity to go flying tonight. And so I am his substitute. No jokes tonight. Yeah, there was. I just gave one. I hear the cheering out there. They call this segment of Skynet, on June 24th, the moon is full. The moon is full, sky, but never mind, that's a song from Indian Love Call. So today, the moon is at its waning gibbous phase. On July 1st, the moon will be at its third quarter phase. On July 5th, the moon will be at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth. Also on July 5th, the moon is at aphelion, which is when the Earth is farthest from the Sun. On July 9th, the moon will be new, and on July 17th, the moon will be at its first quarter phase. Everybody write that down? Because you're going to have to draw lines to make that work correctly, and a lot of ovals. Tonight, on June 26th, in the late evening sky, you can catch the moon and Saturn rising in conjunction in the southeastern sky. We also have, so tonight on the night of June 26-27, the June Boötes, meteor shower could produce from a dozen to more than 100 meteors per hour. But a large number of visible meteors are not expected with the full moon that happened on June 24th, which will interfere with observations. He's mentioned this before. By the way, just to let you know, there are slides of all this stuff going on over on the stream. Go find it on w5fc.org. Slide number 5, the moon and Jupiter can be seen rising together in the southeastern sky about an hour after midnight on the early morning of June 28th. Slide 6. On July 8th, the moon and Mercury will be in conjunction in the eastern early morning sky. Boy, these are just single things. I bet he was going to vamp all this stuff. That's why I'm roaring through these things, because he usually has something to say. Plus, he's got a bunch of bad puns to add to them. Let's see, slide 7. On July 13th, Mars, Venus, and the moon will be in conjunction in the western early evening sky. On July 8th, on the evening of July 24th, this is slide 8, the moon, Jupiter, and Saturn will be in conjunction. They'll be all together, man. On slide 9, oh, jeez. The next TAS Club meeting will be on Friday, July 23rd, 2021 at 7:30. The topic will be members' open dialogue with questions and answers from the members. TAS Club members receive an email link to the Zoom meeting in advance of the meeting. TAS has plans to resume having face-to-face meetings in September and have already resumed having public observing parties, which you heard about earlier. Miss Kelly gave the information, but you can go to texasastro.org for up-to-the-date information and details. Don't forget to click on their calendar section there for fast-changing information. Okay, now we'll go ahead and take this and ask this question because it's still here. Do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need any fills on any of the information, or you just have a general astronomy question? I don't know anything, but I probably know a fake answer to your question. So come now with your call sign if you have some question that you would like me to answer. I am KE5ICX. Please come with your call sign. All right, I just wanted to to let everybody know that there is the UFO report came out from the Department of Defense just Friday, I think it was, yesterday. All sorts of reports about what the heck that stuff is up in the sky. And they listed UFOs, as they were called on the show, UFO, back in 1967. They listed phenomena that could potentially cause it, which is balloons and aircraft, high-tech aircraft that are flying that are unknown, both locally to that are classified, and then, of course, foreign aircraft, and then other. The other was the mystical, magical thing that nobody knew what it was, but it could include UFOs. But I did see a picture, and a picture of Chaz, our usual person doing this. It was a front and side profile of Chaz. So I just thought I'd mention that. Somehow or another, I kind of figured something had something to do with him. And he says he's in an airplane, but maybe not. Maybe he's in one of those flying machines that go really fast. So as the moon wanes at the end of June, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, stay well, pray for our world. It's the only one that where humans and some aliens live, usually Chaz. Until next week, actually I'll be doing another segment, or maybe someone else will see in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. I got a response back. I think I got somebody on the hook to do Chaz's second segment. We'll find out. This is KE5ICX, back to net control.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thanks for filling in and letting us know what's up. This is KF5PDS, Billy, your net control for this session of the DARC Skynet. All right, next up is space exploration and space history. So at this time, I'll turn the net over to Brenda, WB5OZL. The net is yours.
Thank you, Billy. This is WB5OZL. First, in space exploration news, we have a Hubble update. I wish it were better news, but they are. Those bright kids are working on it, so maybe they'll get it going. And NASA's continuing to diagnose a problem with the payload computer on the Hubble Space Telescope after completing another set of tests on June 23rd and 24th. The payload computer halted on June 13th and the spacecraft stopped collecting science data. The telescope itself and its science instruments remain in good health and are currently in safe configuration. Spacecraft has two payload computers, one of which serves as a backup, that are located on the Science Instrument and Command and Data Handling. It's SI, C, and DH units. Additional tests performed on June 23rd and 24th included turning on the backup computer for the first space. The test showed that numerous combinations of these hardware pieces from both the primary and backup payload computer all experienced the same error. Commands to write into or read from memory were not successful. Since it's highly unlikely that all individual hardware elements have a problem, the team is now looking at other hardware as a possible culprit, including the command unit, science data formatter, the CU SDF, another module on the SI, C, and DH. The CU formats and sends commands and data to specific destinations, including the science instruments. The SDF formats the science data from the science instruments for transmission to the ground. The team is also looking at the power regulator to see if possibly the voltages being supplied to hardware are not what they should be. A power regulator ensures a steady, constant voltage supply. If the voltage is out of limits, it could cause the problems observed. Over the next week, the team will continue to assess hardware on the SI, C, and DH unit to identify if something else may be causing the problem. If the team determines the CU SDF or the power regulator is the likely cause, they will recommend switching to the backup CU SDF module and the backup power regulator. let's hope they get it going. That thing is a treasure. We've just really enjoyed the pictures. I'm sitting up some chicken soup now. Okay, the Purdue researchers are working to put a refrigerator in space. Never thought about this, but there's no way to make things cool, not like food, on the ISS. So, the problem is zero gravity. Some NASA officials say cold food storage is one of the biggest hurdles for long-term space missions. In a lab on the campus at Purdue, researcher Leon Brundle pulled the pin out of a refrigerator that had been elevated in a big metal frame. Now he can spin the refrigerator around, even tipping it upside down. The goal here is to test how the refrigeration system works when spun around on Earth, a crude approximation of what it would be like to have a fridge in space where there is no up, down, or sideways. Brundle said that at least since the 1980s, NASA has made several attempts to get a fridge system similar to those used on Earth working in space with varying levels of success. One effort in the 2000s was sent to the International Space Station and failed soon after being turned on in zero gravity. Stand. Sorry, my voice is failing. Got a couple of cough drops here, but they're gooey. I can't get the paper off. I guess I can just eat the paper. So now he can spin the refrigerator around, even tipping it upside down. The goal here is to test how the refrigeration system works. Spun around on Earth, a crude approximation of what it would be like to have a fridge in space where there's no up, down, or sideways. One effort in the 2000s was sent to the International Space Station and failed soon after being turned on in zero gravity. That was an unsuccessful project, Brundle said. In the meantime, that thing has been literally tossed overboard of the International Space Station because it just did not provide any cooling. So it's space junk now. There are some options for keeping things cool on the space station. Those are largely used for science experiments and aren't efficient enough for keeping food frozen on long missions. There is one Earth-type registration system on the Russian side of the space station, but not much is known about it. You know, they separate places, and they don't really work together. Dinner together at night. I don't know why we don't go over there and just say, hey, could we have a look at it? What makes earthbound refrigerators hard to translate to space is their use of oil as a lubricant. Now, oil relies on gravity to keep it where it needs to be. So, oil is one of the reasons that, like, after you move a fridge, you have to let it sit before turning it on so you can let the oil find its way to the bottom where the compressor is. That's normally why this black-looking device, this mechanical-looking device, is at the bottom of your fridge. So that gravity helps keep oil in that compressor. This is part of that orientation dependence. But this fridge is oil-free, instead using grease to keep the machine lubricated. And relative to other cooling systems currently in use, their fridge system would be able to stay cold while using less energy. It was taken up into the Vomit Comet for testing. They're still analyzing the data, but it looks promising. Next, a huge comet has been discovered. They've just discovered a comet so big it might actually be a minor planet. The object is named 214UN271. Astronomers Pedro Bernardinelli and Gary Bernstein found it in archival images from the Dark Energy Survey. It appears to be about 100 kilometers wide, 2 or 3 times bigger than record-breaking comet Hale-Bopp of the 1990s. Now, for the bad news, although it is falling toward the sun, we may never see it with our naked eyes. At closest approach in early 2031, the behemoth comet will be just outside the orbit of Saturn, too far for naked eye viewing. Some astronomers are estimating a maximum brightness near magnitude plus 17 about this site, same as Pluto's moon Charon. It's still an amazing discovery. Has an extremely elongated orbit stretching from the neighborhood of Saturn out to a staggering distance of almost a light year. At the far reaches of its orbit, it barely feels the sun's gravity and could be snatched out of the solar system altogether by the ephemeral pull of galactic tides. Discovering such a traveler during its brief time among the planets is very lucky indeed. There's talk of a space mission to intercept it. The ESA is building a probe called Comet Interceptor designed to investigate comets coming from deep space. It, or something like it, might be able to visit it a decade from now. With an object like this, we have to expect surprises. It certainly poses no threat to Earth, but it could brighten more or less than expected. Multiple groups of astronomers have already detected signs of outgassing, even though it is still beyond Uranus. Early signs of activity may bode well for future visibility through small telescopes, if not the unaided eye. And it has been officially named Comet Bernardinelli-Bernstein. Space-related birthdays. So these are astronauts. And I know I'm going to butcher their names, so bear with me. Ellison Onizuka, June 24th, 1946. He was on STS-51C and STS-51L, the ill-fated Challenger mission. Don Isley, June 23rd, 1930. He flew on Apollo 7. Bernard A. Harris, Jr., June 26, 1956. STS-55, STS-63. Jasmine Mogbelli, June 24th, 1983. No flights yet, but currently an astronaut training program. Raja Chari, June 24th, 1977, SpaceX Crew 3. Brian Duffy, June 20th, 1953. Had 4 shuttles, STS-45, 57, 72, and 92. James Buckley, June 20th, 1945. Again, 4 shuttle missions, STS-51C, 61A, 29, and 48. Gary Payton, June 20th, 1948, STS-51C, and William A. Pales, June 26, 1952, STS-51J. And I just have one little piece about space history. This week in 1993, Space Shuttle Endeavour, mission STS-57, launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center on a 9-day mission. STS-57 marked the first flight of Space Hab, a pressurized laboratory designed to more than double pressurized workspace for crew-tended experiments. 22 experiments were flown, covering materials and life sciences and wastewater recycling experiments for space stations. Today, the Payload Operations Integration Center at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center serves as Space Central for the International Space Station. working 24/7, 365 days a year in support of the orbiting laboratory's science experiments. After 20 years of continuous human presence, the space station remains the sole space-based proving ground and stepping stone toward achieving the goals of the Artemis program. All right, back to net, WE50ZL.
Thank you very much, Brenda. This is KF5TDS, Billy, your net control, for this section of the DARC Skynet. At this time, I'd like to turn the net over to Tom, alternate net control, see if you could do a quick check-in round, see if we got anybody out there that would like to check in, and then you have permission to turn the net over directly to Kelly, K5KTX, for Constellation of the Week. So to KE5ICX from KF5PDS.
All right, thank you, Miss Billy. And I'll tell you what, when you're doing contesting and you've got the 2x3 call, boy, oh boy, those people, they listen carefully to you, though. They'll take your call. Not like the 1x3s and 1x2s and 2x2s and 2x4s. No, that's a good thing. Okay, here we go. I'll take additional check-ins. If you'd like to join us on Skynet, show your support. Please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, and where you are transmitting from.
This is India 5 Golf Romeo Hotel, departed Third City on the way to Pizza on Garland and TV. I think it's called Greenville Avenue Pizza, something like that. KF5 Series.
Kilo 1 Mike Uniform November, David in Rowlett.
Okay, I picked up two. KI5GRH. That's Melissa. She didn't give her name, but I know who it is. She was in Third City, sort of, but she's mobile now. All right. Everything went well. I'm happy, and you're headed back to the barn. This is good. Next up, K1MUN. David in Rowlett. I've got you checked in. Anyone else? Please come down. All right, we'll move on to the Constellation of the Week, Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, and Miss Kelly, K5KTX is going to go ahead and do that segment, so please go ahead from KE5ICX. The net is yours.
Thank you, Tom. This is K5KTX. Good evening again, everyone. So, Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of a silent key, Carolyn KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week almost from its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019 with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen in Texas throughout the year, out of the total 88 constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky in about a year. In her honor, continued that tradition of a constellation per week. Miss Carolyn's constellations of the week this week is our Boötes, the Shepherd, and Corona Borealis, the Northern Crown. Boötes represents a shepherd or herdsman. Most people think it looks like a kite or an ice cream cone. A double-dip cone from Brahms sounds great right about now. There is one very bright star in Boötes, Arcturus, which is the fourth brightest star in the sky. You can find Arcturus by using the handle of the Big Dipper. Follow the curve or the arc of the handle, and you will run into Arcturus. Other interesting stars and Boötes are Izar, or Epsilon Boötis, Alcalurux, or Mu Boötis, Kappa Boötis, was Acellus Tertius, and Z Boötis. And I will concentrate now on the deep sky objects. The first object is NGC 5466. It is 9.2 arcseconds in size and has a brightness of 9.1 magnitude. It is a globular cluster that is small and faint. It requires a large aperture telescope to resolve properly. It looks like a fuzzball in an 8-inch to a 10-inch telescope. It is a challenge to find in binoculars. So the challenge for this week is to try to observe NGC 5466 with binoculars. And I would suggest a pair of 20 by 80 binoculars in dark skies. The next object is NGC 5248, which is a barred spiral galaxy, magnitude 10.3. Smaller telescopes under 8 inches can see it, but only as a weak glow with little to no structure visible. Stephen J. O'Meara was able to spy this 10th magnitude galaxy with 7 by 35 binoculars from Hawaii at an elevation of 4,200 feet, but it took much time and an effort to do so. It is easy to see some structure in this galaxy with a 10-inch telescope at the Texas Star Party. In his entry for this galaxy in his book, The Caldwell Objects, Stephen J. O'Meara writes that Barbara Wilson saw beautiful structure with the arms, revealing many small knots in her 20-inch telescope. And this was probably at the Texas Star Party. The final object that I will cover in Boötes is NGC 5676. And by the way, if you hear me say these NGC numbers, NGC stands for New General Catalog, and so it's just a catalog designation. So NGC 5676 is a spiral galaxy that requires a larger size telescope to resolve. This is a very challenging to locate. It looks like a faint fuzzy patch in an 8-inch telescope in dark skies. You can begin to see some detail in a 12-inch or larger telescope. You might be able to notice NGC 5660, which is a separate spiral galaxy nearby, looking very similar, dim, and fuzzy. And this is K5KTX, and this is Skynet. Corona Borealis is the northern crown. It could be considered a scoop of ice cream that has fallen off the ice cream cone of Boötes. But as a crown, Gemma or Alphecca is the brightest star in Corona Borealis. It is the gem star of the crown. Alphecca is a spectroscopic binary star that is about 75 light years away. A smaller yellow star orbits around a white primary and partially eclipses it, causing a slight reduction in Alphecca's brightness, about 1/10 magnitude. Sigma Corona Borealis and Zeta Corona Borealis are very similar double stars that each have a brighter member and a dimmer secondary member. Our Corona Borealis hosts two well-known variable stars, and both are examples of the particular class of variables that each represents. Our corona is the prototype for a rare group of variable stars which shine at maximum throughout most of their cycle, shining at about 6 magnitude most of the time. However, at irregular intervals, it will quickly dim to somewhere between 7th and 15th magnitude, usually hovering around 12.5, with its brightness fluctuating erratically during a minimum. T Corona Borealis is the other famous variable star, also known as the blaze star. T Corona Borealis is a recurrent nova. Normally it shines at about 10th magnitude, but when it has erupted in the past, it reached naked eye visibility. 2 eruptions have been recorded, one in 1866 where it reached 2nd magnitude, and again in 1946 where it reached magnitude 3.2. In both cases, the star's brightness fell off quickly after the initial outburst, falling below naked eye visibility in about 7 or 8 days. Also, in both cases, about 100 days after the initial outburst and fading, there was a second brightening, this time to only about 7th or 8th magnitude, but lasting about 90 days before finally falling off to the normal 10th magnitude. NGC 5958 is a face-on spiral galaxy in Corona Borealis that shines at a dim magnitude 12.9. It can be observed in a 16-inch telescope, but it's just too faint to be seen in an 8-inch scope. NGC 6085 and NGC 6086 are two galaxies that can both fit in the same eyepiece field of view at low to medium powers. NGC 6085 is a face-on spiral galaxy shining at a dim magnitude of 14.3. NGC 6086 is a magnitude 12.8 elliptical galaxy. Neither of these two galaxies can be seen in an 8-inch scope. There are more Astronomical League observing program objects in the constellations of Bootes, the Shepherd, and Corona Borealis, the Crown. I've just given you a sampling of some of these objects. The Astronomical League has over 70 different observing programs, most of which have around 100 objects. If you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and pin in about a year. And that is Miss Carolyn's constellation of the week, Bootes the Shepherd, and Corona Borealis the Northern Crown. And Chaz wants to thank his friends Dave Hutchison and Dennis Harwell, who is the person that he's in a plane with right now, for their research and words on the deep sky objects that he used, borrowed, and stolen for tonight. He also at times uses the website www.station-guide.com for information. Next time, we're going to take a look at Lupus the Wolf. And this is K5KTX sending the net back to Billy.
Thank you very much, Kelly. Appreciate you picking up that segment for us. All right, next up is Space Launchers of the Week. So at this time, I'll turn over to Tom, KE5ICX. The net is yours from KF5PDS.
All right, thank you, Miss Billy. And all the information I get, actually, I almost exclusively use spaceflightnow.com/launch schedule. You'll find it there. Why is that important? Well, nearly every single launch is streamed live. So if you are a launch fanatic like myself, you can go ahead and plan for these. Or you can also, and I think what I'm going to do is probably add this, go to space.com, and it will allow you or give you information on the latest launch, usually about 5 minutes before the launch. I think I'm going to add that to the segment, how I get that information. I think is that many years ago is where that came from. But at any rate, if you want to know, go to spaceflightnow.com/launch schedule/. The first one I've got for you is to be determined. This is Falcon 9 Transporter 2. This is from SLC-40. That's the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Falcon 9 rocket will launch Transporter 2 mission, a ride-share flight to a sun-synchronous orbit with numerous small microsatellites and nanosatellites for commercial and government customers. On June 29th, Soyuz Progress 78P will launch a Soyuz rocket for the 78th Progress cargo delivery ship to the International Space Station. The rocket will fly in a Soyuz 2.1A configuration. On July 1st, there will be a Soyuz launch from Vostochny Cosmodrome in Russia. A Russian Soyuz rocket will launch 36 satellites into orbit for OneWeb, which is developing a constellation of hundreds of satellites in low Earth orbit for low-latency broadband communications. The Soyuz 2.1B rocket will use, everybody got it, the Fregat upper stage. Also in July, but not yet given a date, is another Falcon 9. This is from SLC-4E. This is on the West Coast, Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This Falcon 9 rocket will launch on the first dedicated mission with a Starlink Internet satellites from Vandenberg Space Force Base. This mission will deploy an unspecified number of Starlink satellites into a high inclination orbit. On July 5th, a Proton rocket will launch from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The Russian government Proton rocket, it's heavy, will launch the Nuka laboratory module to the International Space Station. The Nuka module, or the multi-purpose laboratory module, will also carry the European robotic arm to the space station. So the space station's alive and well and getting new heavy hardware. On July 27th, the launch window is to be determined, but this will be the ELA-3 from Kourou, French Guiana. And Arianespace will use the Ariane 5 ECA rocket, designated VA-254, to launch Star 1D2 and the Eutelsat quantum communication satellite. This is owned by the Brazilian operator Embratel. Star 1. The Star 1D2 was built by Maxar and will deliver telecommunications direct-to-home television services and fast broadband to customers in South America, Mexico, Central America, and parts of the Atlantic Ocean. Eutelsat quantum satellite was built by SSTL and Airbus Defense and Space under the auspices of public-private research and development project between the European Space Agency, Eutelsat, and Airbus. It's designed for coverage over the Middle East and North Africa. The software-defined satellite can be reprogrammed for new communications missions in orbit. That's pretty cool. On July 30th, all right, everybody, 30th, yes. Listen carefully. Atlas V CST-100 launch. This will be from SLC-41 at Cape Canaveral Air Space Station in Florida. The United Launch Alliance Atlas V rocket, designated AV-082, will launch Boeing CST-100 Starliner spacecraft on a second unpiloted test flight to the International Space Station. This mission was added after Boeing's decision to refly Starliner's orbital flight test before proceeding with the crew flight test. That's because the first mission would have killed the crew. That's just me talking. The rocket will fly in a vehicle configuration with two solid rocket boosters and a dual-engine Centaur upper stage. All right, that's all I'm going to do. There are others there to be determined. I'll give you more information next week. This is KE5 ICX back to net control.
Thank you very much, Tom. Yeah, we're starting to run a little short, so for visible satellite passages, I'll just mention that you can go to www.above.com to find out what's in orbit and where to look for things during flyovers. At this time, I'll turn it over to Brenda, WB5OZL, if you want to give a report on recent astronomical discoveries from KFI PDF.
Thank you, Billy. This is WB5OZL. The title of this article is Cosmic Dawn Occurred 250 to 350 million years after the Big Bang. Cosmic dawn, when stars formed for the first time, occurred 250 to 350 million years after the beginning of the universe, according to a new study led by researchers at University College London and University of Cambridge. The study, published in the monthly notices of the Royal Astronomical Society, suggests that the NASA James Webb Space Telescope, scheduled to launch in November, and let's keep our fingers crossed, will be sensitive enough to observe the birth of galaxies directly. The UK-led research team examined 6 of the most distant galaxies currently known, whose light has taken most of the universe's lifetime to reach us. They found that the distance of these galaxies away from Earth correspond to a look-back time of more than 13 billion years ago, when the universe was only 550 million years old. Analyzing images from the Hubble and Spitzer space telescopes, the researchers calculated the age of these galaxies as ranging from 200 to 300 billion years, allowing an estimate of when their stars first formed. Lead author Dr. Nicholas Laporte of the University of Cambridge, who started the project while at UCL, said, "Theorists speculate that the universe was a dark place for the first few 100 million years before the first stars and galaxies formed. Witnessing the moment when the universe was first bathed in starlight is a major quest in astronomy. Our observations indicate that cosmic dawn occurred between 250 and 350 million years after the beginning of the universe, and at the time of their formation, galaxies, such as the ones we studied, would have been sufficiently luminous to be seen with the James Webb Space Telescope." Researchers analyzed starlight from the galaxies as recorded by the Hubble and Spitzer space telescopes, examining a marker in their energy distribution indicative of the presence of atomic hydrogen in their stellar atmospheres. This provides an estimate of the age of the stars they contain. This hydrogen signature increases in strength as the stellar population ages, but diminishes when the galaxy is older than 1 billion years. The age dependence arises because the more massive stars that contribute to this signal burn their nuclear fuel more rapidly and therefore die first. Co-authored Dr. Romaine Meyer, the UCL Physics and Astronomy and the Max Planck Institute for Astronomy in Heidelberg, Germany, said, "This age indicator is used to date stars in our own neighborhood in the Milky Way, but can also be used to date extremely remote galaxies seen at a very early period of the universe. Using this indicator, we can infer that even in these early times, our galaxies are between 200 and 300 million years old." In analyzing the data from the Hubble and Spitzer, the researchers needed to estimate the redshift of each galaxy, which indicates their cosmological distance and hence the look-back time at which they are being observed. To achieve this, they undertook spectroscopic measurements using the full armory of powerful ground-based telescopes, the Chilean Atacama Large Millimeter Array, ALMA, and the European Very Large Telescope, the twin Keck telescopes in Hawaii, and Gemini South Telescope. These measurements enabled the team to confirm that looking at these galaxies corresponded to looking back at a time when the universe was 550 million years old. Well, the article goes on, but it's 10:27, so I think we better quit so we can get to our next net. This is from ScienceDaily.com, if you want to go and look at it. So back to net. This is WB50ZL.
Thank you very much, Brenda. All right, at this time I'll turn the net over to 5ICX. If you'll do a final check-in round and get me a total for this evening's net, I'd appreciate it. So this is to KE5ICX from KF5TDS.
And this is KE5ICX. My name's Tom. We'll go ahead and take final check-ins. If you've not checked in, you've listened to the net, you enjoyed it, let us know that you did so. Please come now with your call sign phonetically, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo India 5, Papa Whiskey November. It's Tom in Plano.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in Dallas.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth.
normal state.
Okay, I picked up 3 more. I got KI5PWN, that's Tom in Plano, welcome back. NT5TM, Tony in Dallas, gotcha. KB9SOK, Sean of the Dead in Fort Worth. I had to say it, you knew I would. I've done that more than once. Anyone else like to check in, please come now. Okie dokie, Miss Billy, we had 26 check-ins, including you and me. Back to you, KE5I6.
I'm completely operational and all my circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow Movie Net.
Copy that. Tonight we had 26 hams participating on the air. So thank you to all who checked in this evening. We hope you'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to discuss astronomy, space, and space exploration. On this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the other DARC nets. If you would like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics and discussion about this net and astronomy in general on Facebook and Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. So until next Saturday night, this is KF5 PDS, Billy. I'll be closing the net at 22:30 local time and returning the repeater to normal amateur use. 7-3, everybody, and enjoy the evening covering the universe. And remember, following this net is the Afterglow Movie Net, where tonight we're discussing 1989's Addams Family Reunion. 73, everybody.
And thank you, Miss Billy. And what an excellent net. It was really great. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We'll be back in 5 minutes before the Death Star clears the planet for tonight's movie, which is Addams Family Reunion. You didn't know it existed, did you? But now you do. But it's okay. You can talk about anything having to do with the Addams Family. Just a little aside tonight. Back in 5, and I will be looking for net control somewhere out there. We'll be back. 5 minutes. We're looking for net control. At world control, anybody want to step up and be net control for tonight's Afterglow movie net? Please come now. Brenda, did you do last week? This sounds like one of your movies. Jane? Jane? Einstein? Somebody? Bill? My mother's a car? You know, I was ANCS earlier. This is KE5ICX. I was ANCS earlier. And nobody wants to be net control for Adam's Family Reunion from 1998. Okay. else is going to do it. It's got to be me. Gotta be me, gotta be me. Oh, he can't sing. All right, this is Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray. I reluctantly am net control for tonight's Afterglow movie net because everybody else is probably in the bathroom and not back, or have run to the bathroom and won't come back. In any case, tonight's movie that we will be discussing is Addams Family Reunion. You thought it was all science fiction. Well, after you've seen this thing, it looks like science fiction on the lam. But in any case, why not? Everybody loves Addams Family. They really do. Everybody remembers the well, not everybody, but some of you remember the 1963-64 two seasons, or was it one season, of the Addams Family from the Charles Addams thing in the New Yorker that he did for years and years. The macabre humor was quite cool and quite fun. And the series was moderately successful. It was rebooted into movies later on. Mark Shaman did the music for it, which is fantastic. 2 movies. First one was really did well, The Addams Family something, and then followed by Addams Family Values, I think it was. The second movie was even better, but nobody watched it. With Mark Shaman music, which was fantastic, by the way. That guy's really great when it comes to music. Now he does mostly musicals on Broadway, making a fortune, raking it in, but, you know, I'm a film music guy, and I love people who do a really good job, and he definitely does a good job. But we'll talk about that later. So let me just go ahead and give you the song, because some of you didn't hear it. So listen carefully. This is the Addams Family song to these lyrics. They've been in syndication, a TV sensation, a winning combination, the Addams Family Reunion. The 90s were a godsend, re-imaged as our new friends. They're like movie bookends. The Addams Family Reunion. But then in 98, a low-cost test of fate, a TV series remake, The Addams Family Reunion. Da-da-da-dum. Dire. Da-da-da-dum. Uninspired. Da-da-da-dum. 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 That's just my voice inflection. On fire. So join us Field Day weekend. A relic of poor distinction. It's more like massive extinction, the Addams Family Reunion. Now, Billy mentioned this, and I agree with her. I forgot to say that Tim Curry was Gomez, and he was really good as Gomez. Tim Curry is a great actor, and he's old now, and has a walker, I think. But in any case, it's great. But it's an ad, so it's okay. Let's see here. So, let me see. What do I need to say? Hold on just a second, because I was hoping somebody'd step up, and nobody did. Nobody's Spartacus tonight. Nobody. Nobody at all. Please stand by while I try and cobble something together after I worked my fingers to the bone writing down net check-ins on the previous net. Please stand by.
This is WB50ZL. Would you like me to do it?
Okay. I knew that, eventually somebody would walk up and say, I'll help. Maybe. I'm standing outside with my little cardboard sign, and you drove up, and you splashed me with a puddle, and there wasn't even a puddle. But please go ahead. Please be net control. This is KE5ICX.
Why, I'd be delighted. Okay, this movie is WB50ZL. It's a lot like the other Addams Family movies. It's kind of made for children, but, hey, I can be a kid sometimes. and, you know, just give into it and enjoy it and be a kid. So I thoroughly loved it, dumb jokes and all. So what happens in this movie, I don't know that I want to read the whole thing, but Gomez's grandparents have Alzheimer's disease. It's making them normal, and it's horrible. So he plans a family reunion. However, he gets an invitation to a family reunion at a luxury resort. So they go, but it's so Adamses. It's Adams with a D. So they're not related to any of these people, and they're all, you know, mainstream, normal people. And but the Ray Walston plays the patriarch of that family, and they're all trying to kill him to get his money. But he takes a shine to our Adamses and basically disowns all his other relatives. So one of the Adams with Wendy and his wife are, you know, it's all switched in the mail somehow. They end up at the Adams family mansion where all kinds of bad stuff happens to them. And it's just a lot of slapstick stuff that doesn't really feed the story much. It's just a lot of sight gags. But in the end, they everything gets sorted out, and everybody gets back to their proper place, and everybody lives happily ever after. And the grandparents go live with the normal people, so everybody's happy. So we have a formula for this. We start off discussing the plots, and then we talk about the characterization, and then the special effects. So I'm going to take short time check-ins first, so if you want to get your comments in early on, you can do that. We want your call sign phonetically, your name, your location, and whether or not you saw the movie. So please come now. Okay, regular check-ins.
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, Tom, Louisville. Yes, I saw it.
KE5ICX Tom. He saw the movie. How about check-ins via Echolink? Okay, any other check-ins?
November 5, Sierra, Quebec Alpha, Ron, Dallas. I saw the movie, but it's probably right when it came out. I remembered nothing about it, but I'm always prepared to talk about Addams Family. N5SQA.
Well, this may be a short night. I guess everybody is doing the field day thing. N5SQA, Ron, thanks for joining us. Anybody else want to jump in? Okay, we'll soldier on. Tom, KE5ICX, tell us what you thought about the plot.
Well, thank you, Miss Brenda, and yes, everything's going really well. In this house, there's total absorption with what's going on the bands. Lost my antenna, so I can't do it either. But in any case, one of the things I thought was interesting about the film, first off, I had an aversion to messing with the original series. Okay, I thought that it was so well done and so well cast and just marvelously done. Vic Mizzy is one of my favorite forgotten composers. I even got one of his demo records back in the 90s before he left this earth, and it has all my favorite stuff on it. Everything he did, Green Acres, which, by the way, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, that was part of his thing. So the whole thing was so well done back in 64, I think it was 63, 64. I loved it to death. I think it was on Sunday night, and I had to split between that and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. But in any case, and it was on ABC, and Voyage was on, it was also on ABC, so never mind, I stand corrected. So, the thing that I was expecting in this is that you get sort of this, interesting, macabre feeling about it, and the gallows humor and everything else. There is some of that in this. Wednesday does a really good job through it, and I think she it transmits the whole goth thing that came right about that time, but the original Wednesday kind of created the goth, at least that whole feeling in the original series, and then in the comic in the New Yorker. Let's see. I like the idea about the transposition that was going on, which is that you've got, on one side, you've got the family reunion, which is where they're going in and seeing Adams with one B, not two, so it's a mess. These people aren't even related, and somehow or another, the Adams are going to come in, and they're the Cadillac or whatever the heck that thing was, the big, huge, heavy roadster, and come in and pretty much dominate everything that's going on. That was pretty cool, and I loved it to death. And then some other couple, the uppy couple, shows up at the Addams Family seaside mansion, which I really like. That sort of falls in with the original story quite well, the original comic strip. So when you're watching these things going on, they go to a resort and they end up trying to assimilate. There's a lot of routines that are kind of childish in that, and it's okay. They do the doors going between the different rooms. You got Thing, you got Uncle Fester, you've got who else is going through sleepwalking Lurch, and the elevator opens and there he is with his hands out, and people are screaming and yelling, and you got the dog that turns into Wolfenstein type of thing. That's the TV series stuff. I think maybe if they did it in black and white, it would have been more hilarious. But I loved it. I I started out, I folded my hands and said, I'm not going to like this thing. And in the end, I really did kind of like it. It was sophomoric at times. You had the slide whistle with things happening, and that drove me nuts because they were appealing to kids. Watch this, clap your hands, and it's funny with a slide whistle and all of that. On the other hand, it did have some interesting parts about it, which is Gomez is everything. He's the superhuman and super sexy guy trying to, take the situation and turn it into this, this civilized but passionate approach to everything. The tango is an example of that with him. He just totally, what's her name? Morticia. I had to think for a minute. And they do this whole dancing routine with the thing, and it just turns it into this whirlwind of stuff. I was fine with that. I think that was stolen from the second movie, but that's okay. I'm cool with it. I liked it, and it was quite fun. The characters, well, I can't talk about characters, but I didn't mind the story. I wanted to hate this. I really wanted to hate it badly. And some of the photography and how it was done was, but I thought overall they did a fairly decent job with selling the Addams Family idea. And I was fine with that. And what's interesting is, and I'll mention this, is that they managed to launch a second series. I don't know why, 65 episodes, I think more episodes than the original series back in the 60s. And I watched one of them after last night. You saw me disappear. I watched a 22-minute episode, but not bad, not bad. I will say, though, when you go back to the original series and how they did a great job. And I think the two bookend movies that they did were fantastic and wonderful. And I even liked the animated show that they did as a feature here a couple of years ago. Very good. I liked it. Is it a sitcom? Yes, it's a sitcom. Is it great theater? No. Is it fun and goofy and crazy and caramel corn and too much sugar? Yes. Would I watch it again? Yes, I would. I would. Back to net control, KE5ICX.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Okay, N5SQA, Ron, what did you think about the story?
Well, like I said, I haven't seen the movie since forever, and I really enjoyed Tom's lengthy description of his reaction to the movie and its fitting into the Addams Family universe. I watched all the original John Aston and what's her name who played Morticia. I can't remember. At any rate, back in the 60s, and it was great fun. But I first learned about them back in the 60s when some friend's dad had a compilation of Charles Addams cartoons from, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it was the New Yorker, and they were all very macabre. And then the sitcom on TV came along, and it was a sitcom. There was certain macabre elements to it, but it wasn't the same level as was being portrayed in the I'll say New Yorker cartoons. Any rate, I'd watch any of them again if it crossed my path, but I can't contribute to this particular instance of that theme. All right, back to net control, N5SQA.
Alrighty, do we have any more check-ins? This is WB50ZL.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I seen the movie.
Kilo Bravo 9, what's your suffix, Sean?
Sierra Oscar Kilo, KB9SOK.
KB9SOK. Sean, what did you think of the plot?
Well, like everybody else, I enjoyed the original 60 series. Liked it a lot. I enjoyed the movies. This one, overall, it wasn't my favorite out of... I'd have to rank it probably at the bottom of all the Addams Family stuff I've seen. I mean, I would say it's not the worst thing we've seen. It was okay. I think the plot itself was, for this type of movie, was overall a good idea. And I do think parts of it were entertaining. I'll admit, I never wanted to stop or, it did keep my interest, which is better than some of the stuff we've seen. But overall, I can't say that I didn't hate it. It was just kind of okay for me, but I also didn't fall in love with it. But overall, yeah, I did like the idea of the parents losing, or, going to be normal. I thought that was kind of an interesting twist. And then going to the reunion and then trying to, kind of match, sort of, except for the kids from the beginning didn't want to and didn't. So there was a few amusing things in it. I do think Fester, his part was probably the funniest and best part of the movie throughout most of it. And it was kind of funny, the one family member that ended up at their house and was being basically pretty much tortured the whole way. But it was okay, I might watch again, probably not soon, but maybe, if it, another 10, 15 years from now, if it was on TV, I might watch it. But not a whole lot to add. I think Tom covered it pretty well. This is KB9SOK, back to net control.
Alrighty, it's my turn. Well, I may be the only person in the world that did not see this on TV in the 60s. I was a little older and considered this children's programming, and it would not be something that would appeal to me very much. It was just a little bit silly and juvenile for me. So I had no context or background from that. I believe I saw one of the early 90s movies. I took my kids to see, but don't have much remembrance of it other than Wednesday saying, are the Girl Scout cookies made from real Girl Scouts? So, it was kind of a clean slate for me. But I kind of enjoyed it. It's sort of a, carnival ride. Just, a roller coaster. Kind of fun, kind of wacky. You don't take it too seriously. It doesn't take itself too seriously. I thought the plot was okay. I didn't have a lot of holes in it, as far as I could tell. And I'm sorry it didn't do well. The critics didn't like it. I'm not really sure why. But critics are different species from the rest of us. I don't understand them. And they do their own thing. I think this may have failed. In the box office. Seems like I read that somewhere. They filmed this in like 30 days, and that's pretty ambitious when you have a lot of sight gags. So, I'm impressed. I love Tim Curry. I shouldn't go into characters, but he really made the show. All right. Well, let's move to characterization. KE5ICX. Tom, what did you think of the characters?
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda. You didn't ask for new check-ins, but that's okay. You can do that after me because, let's see. Okay, everybody knows the best character in this was Tim Curry. He did an excellent job. He did Gomez quite well, and he did mimic everything that Raul Julia did in the first two movies, the only two movies of Addams Family. I thought it was quite good, and he just threw himself into the role figuratively and literally. So I was cool with that. I thought he did a really wonderful job. Let's see. Everyone else, whoever played Fester did a nice job. He did well through the film. Okay, Morticia was okay. Costume could have been better, but everybody who's ever seen Morticia in the costume in the original series would say, yep, this one not so much. I think it was because they were heading for a kid's audience in this, although I think overall it wasn't all that terrible. Not that good, but not that terrible. Sort of in the middle of the road. Let's see. Wednesday, as a character, was wonderful. All you have to do is do a macabre, kind of neutral thing and be a kid. That seems menacing. You can do this role, which is just about any kid on the planet when you think about it, especially when they're reaching puberty. But I think that the gal who did Wednesday did a really exceptional job. She had this thing figured out, and her delivery was the droll, middle-of-the-road delivery, which was wonderful. She also appeared in and was cast in the new Addams Family, and I watched, as I mentioned, 22 minutes of that, which is just one episode, a half hour, with Pugsley, the new Pugsley, and she did wonderful. So I thought it was really well done in that way. The other characters, who doesn't love Uncle Martin in his role? Jeez, I forgot his name already. God, I hate it. Ray Walston did it, and he did a nice job playing Ray Walston, as he always does. So that was very engaging, and the fact in the sidecar and taking it back to the house and everything was kind of fun. Ray Walston, I have a soft spot in my heart for everything he's ever done because he always plays Ray Walston, but he's a character who's rough around the edges, but at the same time has a heart of gold. And as such, he comes out as the bridge between, the Addams with one D and the Addams with two Ds, and he does it in such a flourish, starting out as really I hate you boring people, and then he comes out and saying, I love you non-boring people, but I gotta go off and do something else because maybe you're too boring for me. Things don't happen fast enough, which is kind of fun and cool. Let's see, Ed Begley Jr. was in it. He plays the doctor, and he keeps going double, triple, quadruple down. He can't do anything. Correctly physically. He's taking and backing up his money, his capabilities, his intellectual understanding of things, while Gomez is over there saying, I need to get my parents to get some psychological help. We'll do it for free because I'm really good at this stuff, I think. And he ends up being really great at what he does, I thought that was kind of cool. And there was that subtext in all of it is that, the Dr. Aerosmith thing from Lewis Sinclair, I'm so smart, the Ed Begley character. And then you get Gomez, who is the random element, but totally secure and happy and passionate about everything he does. Who doesn't love somebody like that, and who doesn't hate the Aerosmith character? Perfect. And they did bring that in, and I thought that was fine. It may have been Dick and Jane stuff for a lot of people, but I don't know, I kind of liked it. It was a lot of fun. Let's see, the two people that ended up at the house, the Addams Family estate over there on the water, they end up in over their heads with these crazy people and everything going on. It's fun. I thought it interesting. It says, in case of, what was the line? In case of escapees break glass or something like that, you have to try and figure out how the hell to, they're trying to get out, and they find an ejection seat, and it says something like, to the front, it says escape to the front or something, and it's like this pod like you would expect from a James Bond movie, and it says to the front moat, and they end up in the moat, which is kind of crazy and fun. I like that a lot, and the two characters kept figuring it out, and they look like Bride of Frankenstein and Frankenstein walking around trying to get out of this house that they ended up haphazardly walking into, and now they got to get the hell out. That was fun. I enjoyed the hell out of that. It was stupid. Yes, it was stupid, but I liked it. And one of the best characters in all of this, of course, is Thing. Thing is running around trying to get people's attention and trying to get them to do things that, he even did Morse code for a couple of seconds, which I thought was hilarious. What? We've got to go to the front desk. Okay, we'll go to the front desk and do all the things that you need to do in order to, move the plot along. And, of course, the old door thing, which I mentioned earlier, was fun. Old Lauren Hardy, Three Stooges routine, the doors going in and out. Actually, I think it was Three Stooges routine, because you need at least three. So you had, who was it? You had the Thing, you had, I'm trying to remember. Never mind. Okay, I'll stop now because I can't remember. But I'll remember later. Back to net control. KE5IC.
Well, when you remember later, just go back to sleep. Don't wake us up. Okay, any new check-ins? All right, N5SQA. Ron, what do you think of the characters?
I switched to an HT. Can you hear me, Brenda?
I can hear you just fine, Ron.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to pass on this round. I really don't have much to add. Don't want to keep people up late, but maybe I'll jump in later. N5SQA.
All right, KV9SOQ. Sean, what do you think of the characters?
Yeah, this is KV9SOK. The characters, I think Tom Perot covered that too very thoroughly. Very nicely done. Obviously, Gomez was, I think he did play spot on. Wednesday was spot on. I do agree with the comment about the costumes. I think in general, on all the characters, they kind of missed a little bit on them. Seems like they might have went a little cheap there on that part. As I already said earlier, I enjoyed Fester's part there, and the rest of them were just okay. They had a lot of, I would say, fairly well-known actors in this film, which I was kind of surprised by, that they'd gotten that many regular people that you're familiar with on there. I guess I don't really remember the TV series, the second one, the remake, and I may have to go hunt it down and check it out. I don't think I've seen any of those, so it'd be interesting. Don't have a lot really to add. The one thing I did forget from the first round was I was a little disappointed with the card, because I really liked the card in the original TV series. which I believe was made by the same guy that designed the Batmobile from the 60 series as well. So yeah, we'll just put it in the car. But anyway, back to net control. This is KB9SOK.
Alrighty. Well, of course, I love Tim Curry always, everything. I recently watched him in Clue. That was fabulous. He is just such a great talent, and who could forget Rocky Horror Picture Show? I looked him up. He's done a million things. You know, a bunch of TV, a bunch of movies, and you know, he obviously found his place in the world. He's so good at it, and what I like about him is he just seems to enjoy doing it. It's like he relishes this, and he brings you along on this happy journey. I thought he was cast well, and there were good characters. And even the ones that weren't regulars, like Ed Begley Jr., he showed up on the first day of shooting and announced that he knew nothing about tennis, so they had to kind of shoot around that fact. And when you only have a month, it's got to be nerve-wracking. I don't know what their budget was. I bet it was high, and I don't think it made much money, which is in fact, it went straight to video, and it's released on VHS and Laserdisc, and has never been released on DVD. But that's okay. It's here for us to enjoy now. And I thought Daryl Hannah did a fair job. I actually liked Angelica Houston a little better, but she didn't want to do this movie. And Christopher Lloyd had done Uncle Fester. He didn't want to do this one either, so it was just too bad because he's one of my favorite actors. So, you know, this is hard to do. Do something that's silly and funny. You can really make it stupid in a hurry if you're not careful. There's a fine line between being funny and being ridiculous. I thought they did pretty well at keeping on the right side of the line. Okay, any more check-ins? Okay, special effects or anything else you want to talk about? KE5ICX. Tom, go ahead.
Okay, Miss Brenda, boy, well, it is field day. Let's see. I thought the music was fairly well done. I don't know the composer. I have to go back and look, but I thought that was pretty good. Special effects, not so good overall, but if you watch the follow-on television series they did, they were terrible. So it was reasonably done. This was a direct-to-video, by the way. It didn't go into movie theaters, and after the first two movies, the first one did really well, the second one not so much, although I personally love the second one better than the first one. But that's me. I don't know. I like failure projects like, I don't know, Star Trek in 1966. But you never know. Somebody figures out how to monetize things, and this thing keeps coming back over and over again. And in fact, by the way, in case nobody knows, and there's only a few of us listening, Netflix is coming out with a series called Wednesday, from focusing on, Wednesday Addams from the series. So I think that could be interesting and well done. By the way, the gal who played Wednesday, and I think I mentioned this earlier, the gal who played Wednesday in this movie went on to do the TV series, and they focused on Pugsley and Wednesday in that TV series. I watched one episode last night. I thought it was quite entertaining. Terrible special effects, terrible sets. But it was nice. If you just go ahead and close your eyes and pretend it's in black and white and remember the original actors, it actually was pretty good. So I have a soft spot for the Addams Family and all the stuff that goes on with it. The thing about it is that what you want to do and what you have to, and this worked with the Munsters, which I think Addams Family was kind of a takeoff on that, although they used Charles Addams stuff in order to make that happen and create the whole sensibility about it is that the thing about those type of characters, whether it be the Munsters or the Addams Family, is that we're supposed to think of them as totally outrageous and crazy and stupid and incapable, but in the end, and as both as series, but as characterizations, they're a reflection of ourselves, and it has to do with look at the world slightly oblique, slightly different, and wonder, first off, are you so different, number one, and number two, when people look back at you and think you're crazy, their view is more obscure and crazier than the characters that are trying to express themselves in an honest way, and both shows did that. So I have a soft spot for both of these constructs that were created because they're metaphors. They are people, sometimes fish out of water, whether we don't know exactly what we are or what we want to be, and this is a way of looking and saying, you know what, it's not so crazy, and these people bring a validity and honesty to the picture. The other part is, the other side is that, you know, prejudice is kind of one of those things that we all have because it's part of our lives. You don't want to be eaten by by somebody. You don't want to be cut off in traffic and killed accidentally when you see somebody being erratic. The other part of it is that you have to pre-construct and predetermine exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And sometimes that's not right because you don't recognize the true intentions of the characters. You look at the assumed situation that's about to happen. It's a dodgy thing, I know, but this series has a tendency to bring that home, and always has, and that is that be careful what you're looking at. What seems crazy and nuts may be passionate and completely logical. Let me reset. You know, I'll take us out with a 5551212, but Elon Musk is one of these people. He goes in and he thinks about how you do things. He smokes pot on TV. He builds a giant spacecraft, and he's been immensely successful in doing it. His whole thing is he wants to have a two-planet society where, you know, we're here on Earth and we're on Mars, and if something happens to Earth, we're still okay. The human race exists. You blow up Mars, well, you blew up Mars. We did the best we could, and he spent billions of dollars to make that happen. That's a crazy notion, but is it really? Is it really that crazy? We grew up on Star Trek, so did he. So does that really make a person crazy? Does it make them, you know, Addams Family or Munster material? Well, it does, but is that a bad thing? I'm not so sure. So that's my parting shot. KE5ICX.
Okay. N5SQA, do you have anything to add to this?
Just as an aside, the TV's on in the background, no audio. Apparently, they're showing a rerun of SNL, and Elon Musk is the guest host. That's the end of that. I have a peripheral connection to a bunch of Dallas theater people, and one of the things came across my mind, it's late, haven't gotten a lot of rest today, is thinking about Cousin It in this or any of the other movies. What would its pronouns be? N5SQA.
Well, that's a good question. But I thought that was a clever gag to have a hair-eating dog and Cousin It in the same room. So you know this is not going to end well. All right, KV9SOK. Sean, what do you have to add?
Yes, KB9SOK. Not a lot, really. Once again, this is just supposed to be kind of just a, obviously, movie. It doesn't take itself seriously, which is okay. And not everything has to be a full-on classic drama or, deep insights into things. But yeah, the music was okay. The special effects were, absolutely horrendous. The CG was really, really bad. But you kind of, once again, some of that could have been somewhat intentional, being a little bit of the tongue-in-cheek that it was. But yeah, overall, like I said, the movie was okay. I don't have any real deep insights into this, but that's really all I got. Back to Net Control. This is KB9SOK.
Alrighty, well this is WB50ZL. Do we have any more check-ins?
Kilo India 5, Juliet Charlie Mike.
Kilo India 5, Juliet Charlie Mike. Your name, please?
The name's Thomas. CH is
Okay, Thomas, do you have something to add to our discussion about the Addams Family reunion?
Given I did not see it because I got it confused with the Svengoolie movie for this week, no, I do not. I have no comments. Back to Net Control.
Alright, well, I'll make my final comments. The actress that played Wednesday, she has only 3 acting credits, and 2 of those are Addams Family movies. She quit acting, got out of the business. I'm sure there's a story, but I don't know what it is. But I thought she was pretty successful in these 2, and so who knows. Special effects, I didn't see much, but they spent just a month shooting this thing, so I think a lot of it was, come on, we got to get this done today, and went through things too fast. Most of the special effects were just, like, let's put a wire on something and move it. Very low-tech special effects. All right, well, that's about all I have to say about this. Does anybody else have anything to say? Well, I guess we'll wrap it up early then. Tom, next week.
All right, thank you, Miss Brenda here it is. We have for all time. Oops, I almost made it something else. 2000 made-for-TV movie, Everybody's Grimacing, starring Mark Harmon, you'll like that, Mary McDonnell, and Catherine Hicks. It's based on the Twilight Zone episode A Stop at Willoughby by Rod Serling. Actually, I saw the original episode as everybody else did, and I think this could be really good. So, or it could be really bad. I don't know. Next week, A Stop at Willoughby. I know it's, what the hell do they call this thing? Or For All Time. For All Time. I'm thinking the episode. So, if you're interested and you want the links and everything to what we're watching, send me an email at Kilo Echo India Charlie X-Ray KE5ICX at yahoo.com, or you can go to the Facebook page, Afterglow Movie. Those are two words, Afterglow and Movie, and say you want to sign up, and I'll make sure you're included. And I'll give all the links to whatever movies are available. Virtually all of them are available online, either for pay or for free. I try and find for free, and some obscure stuff you've not seen before, and then when things get really bad, then I find really good stuff and bring them in and say, look, we got good stuff too. But next week's movie is For All Time, written by Rod Serling. Back to you, KE5I6.
Okay, well, appreciate everybody that contributed tonight. And I guess we'll close the net. It's only 11:30, but you know, I don't recall that we've ever done a net like this on field day. We've always watched a movie or did nothing. So to ourselves for next year, of course, hopefully we'll be back on site somewhere and watching a movie like we have in the past. Won't be doing this, but definitely lost our audience to field day, I'm pretty sure. Alrighty, I'm going to close the net. This is WB5OZO.